I never planned to save anyone that night. I was just a tired dad driving home through the storm, thinking about how to feed my girls tomorrow. But when I saw that wrecked car, something in me stopped. I didn't know the woman I pulled from the rain would change everything. My heart, my family, my entire life. Do you believe that one act of kindness can rewrite someone's fate? If yes, like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Rain hit the windshield like 1,000 tiny hammers, and I could barely see past the wipers. The girls were asleep in the back seat, Emma's head resting on Lily's shoulder, their small breasts fogging up the window. For a second, I thought about how peaceful they looked. Then my eyes drifted to the dashboard light, flashing low fuel, and peace was gone. Hang in there, old truck, I muttered, tapping the steering wheel. Just a few more miles. I'd finished my second shift an hour ago. My hands still smelled like grease and metal, and my back ached from bending over engines all day. I'd promised the girls pancakes tonight, but exhaustion had swallowed that plan whole. Emma stirred. "Daddy, are we home yet?" "Almost, sweetheart," I said softly. "Just a little longer." Lily mumbled in her sleep, clutching her worn-out teddy bear. That bear's missing one eye, like me missing half my sanity most days. Still, it's her comfort, mine too, in a way. The road stretched dark and empty ahead, and my thoughts started to drift, dangerously so. 3 years. 3 years since that night. I can still see her, Sophie, laughing in the kitchen, humming while frying eggs. Then the phone call, the crash, the silence. "Stop it," I whispered to myself. "Not tonight." But grief never asks permission. It just walks right in, sits beside you, and reminds you what you lost. I remember holding her hand in the hospital, promising her I'd raise our girls right, promising her I wouldn't fall apart. But some nights, like this one, I wonder if I already have. Bills stacked on the counter. Rent due next week. Emma needs new shoes. Lily's school fee. And my boss already hinted about cutting hours. I squeeze the steering wheel harder. "You can't brake, man." I tell myself. They need you. The rain thickens, blurring the world into gray streaks. Lightning flashes bright, blinding, and that's when I see it. A car, smashed against a tree. Headlights flickering weakly in the storm. My heart kicks hard. For a moment, I freeze. Maybe it's empty. Maybe help's already come. But then I spot movement. A faint shadow slumped behind the steering wheel. "Dad." Emma's voice is small, scared. "What's wrong?" "Stay in your seats," I say quickly. "Someone's hurt." I pull the truck to the side of the road, hazard lights blinking against the rain. The storm sounds louder now, like it's yelling at me to stay inside. But I grab my jacket and step out anyway. The cold water slaps me instantly, soaking through in seconds. The car's front end is crushed. Steam hisses from the hood. I peer inside. Someone's there. A woman. Blonde hair plastered to her face. Blood trickling down her forehead. "Hey, can you hear me?" I shout, knocking on the window. She stirs, barely lifting her head. Her lips move, but I can't hear her over the rain. "Hang on, I'll get help." I call out, reaching for my phone. But there's no signal. Of course not. This stretch of road never has one. I glance back at my truck. The girls are watching wide-eyed, faces pressed to the glass. My heart clenches. "It's okay." I call out to them, forcing a smile that doesn't reach my eyes. "Stay put, okay? Daddy's just helping." I return to the wreck, trying the door. It's jammed. I push harder, the metal groaning, my arms shaking. Finally, it gives. The woman's eyes flutter open. She looks terrified. "Please, don't leave me," she whispers, voice trembling. "I won't," I say, steady and sure, even though my pulse is racing. "You're going to be okay." She reaches out weakly, and I take her hand. It's cold, fragile, trembling. Rain pours down harder. My girls watch from the truck, the world holding its breath. And as I kneel there in the mud beside a stranger's broken car, holding on to someone who might not make it, one thought cuts through everything else. I couldn't save Sophie that night, but maybe, just maybe, I can save her. Her hand was cold, trembling under my palm. Rain poured harder, soaking through my jacket, but I didn't care. Hey, can you hear me? I said, leaning closer. Her pulse fluttered weakly against my fingers. Come on, stay with me. Nothing, just shallow breaths and the sound of water dripping from her hair onto the seat. I yanked open the passenger door. It creaked, resisting. Emma, Lily, stay in the truck, okay? Don't come out. Their voices were faint behind the glass. Is she hurt, Daddy? Yeah, I shouted back. She's hurt, but Daddy's helping. I grabbed my phone, thumb shaking as I dialed. Come on, static. No signal. Of course. Out here, it's always dead. I glanced back at the woman. Her head lolled to the side, blood sliding down her temple. I couldn't just stand there. I pulled off my work shirt and pressed it gently against the wound. Hey, you're going to be okay, all right? My voice cracked, maybe from the cold, maybe from fear. Just hang on. Help's coming. She stirred then, eyes flickering open, gray eyes, dazed but sharp enough to meet mine. Don't. Her lips moved, barely a whisper. Don't leave me. That hit me like a punch to the chest. I swallowed hard. I won't. I promise. She blinked slowly, trying to focus on me. The rain drummed harder on the roof. Her clothes, tailored, expensive, were torn and muddy, her necklace twisted. Whoever she was, she didn't belong out here like this. But right now, none of that mattered. I reached over to adjust her seatbelt, careful not to jostle her too much. You got to stay still, okay? Can you tell me your name? She tried to speak, but all that came out was a strained breath. All right, don't push it, I said softly. Save your strength. I ran to my truck, grabbed the blanket from the back seat. The girl stared at me with wide eyes. Daddy, is she going to die? Lily asked, clutching her bear tight. I hesitated. No, baby, she's going to be fine. I just need you to be brave, okay? Emma bit her lip. Do you need help? I just need you both to stay safe. Lock the doors, okay? They nodded, tears mixing with fog on the window. I hurried back, wrapping the blanket around the woman. Her skin was icy under my hands. I knelt beside her, tried to shield her from the rain with my body. Hey, I said again, quieter this time. You're not alone. I'm right here. Her hand twitched in mine, gripping weakly. It hurts, she whispered. I know, I murmured. Just breathe. You're doing great. I kept talking. Not because she could hear every word, but because silence felt too close to death. You know, my girls, they're watching from the truck. They're scared. But if you hold on, you'll give them something to believe in, okay? Her eyes opened again for a second. Girls? Yeah, I smiled faintly. 2 of them. Little troublemakers. She almost smiled back, just a flicker, and then her eyes rolled shut again. My heart hammered. I pressed 2 fingers against her neck. Pulse, faint but there. Thank God. Finally, sirens cut through the rain. Red and blue lights flashed across the wet road. Relief hit me so hard I almost laughed. Over here, I shouted, waving my arm. 2 paramedics ran up, splashing through puddles. One of them crouched beside her. Sir, you did good. She's stable enough to move. I stepped back, drenched, shivering. One of them asked, You related to her? I shook my head. No, just found her. They loaded her into the ambulance. Before they closed the doors, she stirred again, eyes finding me. Her lips formed the same words. Don't leave me. I managed a tired smile. I'm not going anywhere. The doors shut. The ambulance pulled away, and I stood there under the rain, heart pounding, clothes dripping, daughters waiting. I didn't know her name. I didn't know her story. But something about her eyes stayed burned in my mind. Fear, loneliness, the same kind I saw in the mirror every morning. And I had no idea then how saving her would change everything for me and for my girls. It had been a week since that night. The storm, the wreck, the woman with gray eyes whispering, Don't leave me. I still thought about her sometimes, usually when I passed that stretch of road on my way to work. I'd wonder if she made it, if she had family waiting, if she even remembered the man who found her in the rain. I didn't expect to find out the answer, standing right on my front porch. When I opened the door, there she was, bandages wrapped around her forehead, arm in a soft sling. Expensive coat, delicate perfume, the kind that didn't belong anywhere near my squeaky front steps. "Hi," she said softly. "I hope I'm not intruding." For a second, I forgot how to talk. You're the woman from the accident." She smiled faintly. "Clara Hayes." Her voice had that polished tone, like someone used the boardrooms, not back roads. "You stayed with me that night. I wanted to thank you properly." "You don't have to," I said quickly, rubbing my hands on my jeans. Anyone would have done the same. Her eyes flicked to my daughters, who were now peeking from behind my legs like two curious cats. "Hi there," she said, kneeling slightly despite her bandaged arm. Lily piped up first. "Are you a princess?" Clara blinked, then laughed, a real, warm laugh that surprised even her. "A princess? Oh, I wish." Emma stepped closer, serious as ever. "You look like one. You smell fancy." I groaned. "Emma?" Clara just smiled. "Well, thank you. That's very sweet." Lily tugged on my sleeve. "Daddy, can she have cookies?" "We baked some." Baked was a generous word. Half were burnt, the rest oddly shaped. But before I could protest, Lily disappeared into the kitchen. I turned back to Clara. "You really didn't need to come all the way out here." "I did," she said gently. "The doctors told me what happened, that you stayed with me until the ambulance came. I wanted to see you, to thank you in person." Her eyes lingered on the peeling paint of the doorframe, the faded curtains, the cluttered toys near the couch. I felt my ears heat. "I don't have much to offer, but you're welcome to sit," I said awkwardly. "Sorry about the mess. 2 kids and no wife means chaos." She hesitated, then stepped in carefully. "It's cozy," she said politely, glancing around. Lily came back with a plate of cookies. "Here." Clara accepted one like it was a treasure. "Thank you, sweetheart." Emma studied her carefully. "Do you remember Daddy saving you?" "I do," Clara said softly, looking at me. "It's a memory I won't forget." The room went quiet for a beat. I cleared my throat, changing the subject. "You should rest, Miss Hayes. You don't need to tire yourself thanking me." "Clara," she corrected. "Please. And it's really no trouble." She walked toward the corner where my old washing machine sat, silent and broken. I caught her staring. "Yeah," I said, scratching the back of my neck. "It died 2 weeks ago. Haven't had the time or money to fix it." She looked at me, that same unreadable calm on her face. "You do enough," she said quietly. "Let me handle this one." Before I could argue, she pulled a small notepad from her purse, scribbled something and tucked it into my hand. "A technician will come by tomorrow. Consider it my thank you." "Clara, that's not necessary." I started. "I can't accept." She smiled, cutting me off. "You already did when you didn't leave me to die." And just like that, she turned to go. The girls waved from the doorway, shouting goodbyes. I stood there holding that note, rain starting to fall again outside. I should have felt proud, maybe even relieved, but instead, I just felt off balance. I wasn't used to being helped. And yet, something about her kindness, quiet, deliberate, felt less like charity and more like someone trying to remember how to feel human again. I closed the door slowly, staring at the note in my hand. I didn't know it then, but that broken washing machine was just her excuse to come back. I didn't expect her to show up again, but there she was, standing at my door with 2 paper bags and a shy smile. "I come bearing peace offerings," Clara said. "Dinner ingredients and, possibly, a disaster." I laughed under my breath. "You sure you're ready for another disaster?" This kitchen seen plenty. "Perfect," she said. "Then I'll fit right in." Emma peeked from behind me. "Miss Clara, you came back." Lily squealed and ran straight to her. "Do you like spaghetti?" "Daddy burns it, but it still tastes okay." "Lily," I muttered, embarrassed. Clara laughed. "Then I'm in good company." The girls dragged her straight to the kitchen like they'd been waiting all week. I just stood there for a second, watching her move through the small space that had always felt too quiet since Sophie died. Now, somehow it didn't. "Okay," Clara said, tying one of my old aprons around her waist. "Chef Lily, you stir the sauce. Chef Emma, you handle the garlic bread." Emma frowned. "Dad usually just burns the bread." "Not this time," I said, pretending to be offended. "We're impressing company tonight." "Company?" Clara asked, glancing at me. I shrugged. "You know what I mean." The girls giggled, whispering something I pretended not to hear. Something about Daddy smiling weird. Dinner ended up being exactly what I expected. Half burnt, half perfect, and fully chaotic. By the time we sat down, the table looked like a war zone of pasta sauce and laughter. "Daddy, remember when Mommy used to make spaghetti?" Lily asked suddenly, twirling noodles around her fork. My throat tightened. "Yeah, sweetheart. She made it better than me. She used to sing when she cooked," Emma added softly. "You never sing." I forced a smile. "Because you two make enough noise for all of us." They giggled, but Clara went quiet. When I looked up, her eyes had softened. "I used to sing too," she said after a moment. "When I was engaged." I blinked. "Engaged?" She nodded, voice quieter now. "He was a musician. We were supposed to get married 5 years ago." She paused. "He died in a car crash." The words hung heavy between us. For a moment, all I could hear was the rain starting outside again, tapping gently against the window. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice low. She gave a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Me too." I stopped singing after that. I nodded slowly. I stopped fixing old radios. My wife loved music. Couldn't stand the sound of static. But now the house feels too quiet without it. Something in her expression changed. Softer, warmer. "You kept going, though," she said. "For them." I looked at my girls. Lily was trying to feed spaghetti to her teddy bear. Emma was wiping sauce off her sister's chin. "Yeah," I said quietly. "For them." Later, after the girls went to bed, Clara and I sat at the table surrounded by half-empty plates and spilled juice. "They adore you," she said. "They adore anyone who doesn't burn garlic bread." I joked. She laughed. Really laughed this time, the kind that makes you forget pain for a few seconds. Then her voice softened. "I'd forgotten what this felt like." "What?" She looked around. The clutter, the noise still echoing faintly from the girls' room. "Home." I didn't know what to say. So I just nodded because I understood. Too well. When she stood to leave, she lingered by the door. "Thank you for dinner," she said. "And for letting me remember." "Any time," I said. "Just don't expect better pasta next time." She smiled, tucking her hair behind her ear. "Next time, I'll bring dessert." And before I could reply, she was gone, leaving behind the faint scent of rain and rosemary. I stood there for a long while, staring at the empty doorway. For the first time in years, the house didn't feel heavy. It felt alive. Clara kept her promise. Dessert came in the form of an invitation. "I'm hosting a small charity event tomorrow," she said that night before leaving. "You and the girls should come." "Please." I wanted to say no. Crowds, suits, spotlights. They weren't for people like me. But Emma's eyes lit up and Lily gasped, "A party?" So I said yes. Now, standing at the entrance of the grand ballroom, I regretted every syllable. "Daddy," Emma whispered, tugging my sleeve, "are we allowed to be here?" The chandeliers glittered like frozen rain. My jacket, frayed at the cuffs, too tight at the shoulders, felt even older under those lights. I tried to smile. "Of course, kiddo. We're guests." Lily pressed herself against my leg, holding my hand like she used to on her first day of school. Clara appeared then, radiant in a silver gown that made half the room stop talking. "You made it," she said, her voice warm enough to melt every ounce of my doubt. "Wouldn't miss your big night." I managed, tugging at my collar. She bent to the girls. "You both look beautiful." Lily twirled. "Daddy combed my hair 5 times. 6, I corrected, and Clara laughed. Her laughter made me forget where we were. For about 5 seconds. Then I saw the stairs. Men in sharp tuxedos. Women whispering behind crystal glasses. Their eyes travel from my scuffed shoes to my girl's mismatched dresses. "Who's that?" someone murmured nearby. "Clara's charity cases?" Another voice. My stomach twisted. I shifted closer to Emma and Lily. "Stay with me, okay?" Emma nodded quickly, her small fingers curling around my coat. Clara must have noticed. She took the mic at the stage and smiled at the crowd. "Before we begin," she said, "I want to thank a special family." My heart froze. She gestured toward us. "This is the family who reminded me what kindness means, who showed me that love isn't measured in wealth, but in the warmth we share." Every head turned. Every whisper stopped. Lily waved shyly. Emma hid behind me. I just stood there, pretending to smile, my pulse hammering in my ears. Applause followed, a polite, detached kind of clapping, but all I heard was the echo of my own doubt. I didn't belong here, not among silk and champagne, not when my girl's shoes came from the thrift store, and my car's check engine light had been blinking for months. Clara moved through the crowd, radiant and unshaken, while I drifted to the balcony, escaping the noise. The night air felt colder than it should have. I leaned on the railing, staring at the city lights below. What was I even doing here? Pretending I could fit into her world? Pretending my daughters deserved to stand under chandeliers instead of streetlights? I rubbed my hands together, the calluses catching the moonlight. These hands built shelves, fixed radios, packed lunches, not shaking hands with millionaires. "Mind if I join you?" Clara's voice came softly behind me. I turned. She was barefoot, heels dangling from one hand. "You ran away," she said, smiling gently. "Just needed some air," I murmured. "Didn't want to embarrass you." Her brow furrowed. "Embarrass me? Why would you think that?" I looked away. "You saw them. The way they looked at me, like I was some stray that wandered in." She stepped closer. "I saw them looking at me, because I couldn't stop looking at you." I blinked. "Clara, you think I care about their whispers?" she said softly. "I've been in rooms filled with diamonds and still felt lonely. Tonight I didn't." Her words hit something deep. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But shame sat heavy in my chest. "I don't fit here," I said quietly. "This world, yours, is not mine." She reached out, placing her hand over mine. Her skin was warm, steady. "Then let's stop talking about worlds," she whispered. "You belong where love exists." I looked at her, really looked. The city lights glowed behind her, softening everything. From inside, I could hear Emma's laugh, bright and wild. Lily's voice followed, asking for another slice of cake. Clara smiled. "Sounds like they're conquering the dessert table." I laughed despite myself. "Yeah, they do that." "Come on," she said, squeezing my hand gently. "Let's go remind everyone what real joy looks like." I hesitated, then nodded. As we walked back inside, her barefoot, me in a worn-out jacket, I realized something. Maybe we didn't belong to her world. But for a fleeting moment, her world felt like home. The next morning after the gala, the girls were still glowing with stories about the princess who eats cake with her hands. Clara laughed when I told her. For once, everything felt light. I should have known peace never lasts long for people like me. The fire started on a Tuesday. I smelled smoke before I saw it. Sharp, chemical, wrong. By the time I reached the workshop, flames had swallowed half the roof. "Get everyone out," I yelled, pushing through the heat. The metal shells groaned as fire chewed through them. I grabbed the extinguisher, coughing, barely seeing through the smoke. Someone shouted my name, but I didn't stop, not until the ceiling cracked and I felt a sting across my palm. When it was finally over, the workshop was gone. Blackened, twisted, silent. My job, gone with it. "Daddy, why are your hands red?" Emma asked that night, her tiny fingers brushing over the bandages. "Just a small burn." I lied. Old machines and tired hands don't mix well. Lily frowned. "You smell like smoke." I smiled weakly. "That's because I fought a dragon at work." She gasped. "Did you win?" I forced a laugh. "Barely." They giggled, satisfied. But when they slept, I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the unpaid bill stacked beside a half-empty mug of coffee. Rent, groceries, school trip next week. I'd lost my job, my savings, my footing, and yet I couldn't bring myself to call Clara. She wanted help, and that's exactly why I couldn't let her. 3 days later, she showed up anyway. I was outside, fixing the fence with one good hand when her car pulled in. She stepped out, white coat, worried eyes. "Why didn't you answer my calls?" she asked. I wiped sweat from my brow. "Phone's been acting up." Her gaze fell to my hands. "What happened?" "Just a burn. Nothing big." She reached for my wrist, gentle but firm. "Don't lie to me, please." Something in her tone, half hurt, half care, hit deeper than I wanted it to. I sighed. The workshop caught fire. Everything's gone. Her face softened, but I caught that flicker of pity I feared most. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "You should have told me." "And say what? That I can't feed my kids again? That I need saving?" I snapped before I could stop myself. She blinked. "That's not what this is about." "Then what is it about, Clara?" My voice rose. "You're kind, I get that. But you can't keep fixing things that don't belong to you." Her eyes shimmered, not from anger, but sadness. "You think I'm trying to control you?" I turned away. "I think you're trying to make me feel small. Like I can't stand on my own 2 feet. She stepped closer, voice trembling now. "You stood in fire for strangers, for your daughters, for me. How can you think asking for help makes you weak?" I didn't answer. Pride had a way of choking me. She let out a shaky breath. "I just wanted to share the weight, not take it from you." For a moment, the silence between us was heavier than smoke. Then she said quietly, "Maybe I cross a line." I looked at her, at the woman who had brought laughter back into my house, and for the first time, I wished she'd stop caring. It hurt too much to be seen this way. "You didn't," I whispered. "I just don't know how to accept kindness anymore." Her eyes searched mine, but I couldn't hold her gaze. She turned slowly, walking toward her car. Before getting in, she said, "You don't have to be alone in the fire, you know." The door shut softly. When her car disappeared down the road, I exhaled a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. The night air carried the smell of ash again. Only this time, it wasn't from the fire. It was from something inside me burning out. The night Clara drove away, I told myself she'd call tomorrow. Tomorrow became 3 days. Then a week. Each sunrise felt heavier, like the world had shifted just a little too far away from me. Emma stopped asking when she'd visit. Lily didn't. Every morning she'd peek through the curtains and whisper, "Maybe today." I didn't have the heart to tell her that sometimes maybe never comes. It was a gray Thursday when the letter arrived. Old paper. Neat handwriting. My name on the front, underlined twice, like she couldn't decide whether to make it gentle or final. I sat at the table, hands trembling as I opened it. "Dear Jack, by the time you read this, I'll be gone from the city for a while. I need space to breathe, to understand who I am beyond the noise and cameras. I thought money could buy peace, but it never could. You and your girls showed me what peace looks like. Burnt pasta, mismatched plates, and laughter that comes from love, not perfection. Thank you for reminding me what home feels like. Don't look for me yet. Just live. Heal. Be the father your daughters already believe you are. With love. Clara." The words blurred. I blinked, but tears kept coming. Lily's voice broke through. "Daddy? What's that?" I folded the letter, swallowing hard. "It's from Miss Clara." Emma looked up from her homework. "She wrote to you?" I nodded, trying to keep my voice steady. "She's going away for a while." Lily tilted her head. "Did she stop loving us?" That one shattered me. "No, sweetheart," I whispered, pulling her close. "She just needs to take care of herself. Sometimes grown-ups forget how to do that." Emma frowned. "But we can help her. We make people feel better, right?" God, her eyes, so much like her mother's, made it impossible to lie. "You already did," I said. "You helped her more than you'll ever know." After they went to bed, I sat alone in the dark, the letter open again under the kitchen light. My coffee had gone cold, but I couldn't move. Every word from her echoed the things I'd been too afraid to say. I missed her laugh, the way she closed her eyes when the girls hugged her, like she was remembering what safety felt like. I missed the way her presence filled the silence without saying a word, and I hated myself for letting pride drive her away. For years, I'd worn my pain like armor. Losing my wife had carved something hollow inside me, and I told myself I could survive on duty alone. Work, feed the kids, sleep, repeat. But Clara had slipped past those walls. She'd made me feel again. Now, without her, everything felt louder. The ticking clock, the wind outside, the quiet ache in my chest. I don't remember when the first tear fell, but once it started, I couldn't stop. I pressed my palms against my eyes and broke, completely, hopelessly, the kind of crying that comes from years of pretending you're fine. For the first time in forever, I let myself grieve, not just for Clara, but for my wife, for the man I used to be, for the father who kept smiling while drowning inside. When I finally looked up, the letter was still there, soft under the lamplight. I whispered to her, to myself, "I'm done hiding, Clara. You were right. Love isn't about pride. It's about letting people in." The house was quiet except for the soft breathing of my daughters down the hall. And somehow, in that silence, I felt her presence again, gentle, forgiving, like a promise not lost but waiting. I don't know what I expected from life after Clara left. Maybe peace. Maybe nothing. But 6 months passed, and peace never came. Just quiet. The kind that hums too loud when the kids fall asleep. I'd gone back to fixing cars, smaller jobs in a neighbor's garage. The burns had healed. So had most of my pride. The girls grew faster than my paychecks, but somehow we made it. Together. Then one ordinary Saturday, the sound of tires on gravel pulled me from under a car. I wiped the grease off my hands, squinting against the sun. A silver SUV. My heart kicked hard before my head caught up. The door opened and she stepped out. No heels this time. No perfect makeup. Just Clara, hair loose, jeans dusty, eyes brighter than I remembered. For a second, I couldn't move. "Hey, stranger," she said softly. I swallowed hard. "Clara?" She smiled. "Last time I checked." The girls saw her before I could say anything else. "Miss Clara!" Lily screamed, bolting across the yard. Emma followed, laughing and crying at the same time. Clara dropped to her knees, arms wide open. "Oh, my girls!" Her voice broke. "You grew so much." Lily buried her face in her neck. "You left too long." "I know," Clara whispered, kissing her hair. "I'm so sorry." Emma looked at her, serious. "You came back, though." Clara nodded. "I promised I'd find my way home." Home. The word hit me harder than I expected. Later, we sat at the porch table. The sun was dipping low, painting everything gold. Clara took a slow breath. "I've been working on something. A new start, I guess. A small foundation for single parents, helping with jobs, housing, childcare. The kind of people who never get a second chance." I raised an eyebrow. "Sounds ambitious." She smiled. "Sounds familiar." I laughed quietly. "You mean like a mechanic who thinks he can raise 2 kids and still keep the lights on?" "Exactly like that." Her tone was warm, but then she hesitated, fingers brushing the edge of her cup. "I was hoping you'd help me run it." I blinked. "Me? You," she said firmly. "You've lived the life I'm trying to reach. You know what real strength looks like." I shook my head. "Clara, you don't owe me anything." She looked straight into my eyes. "I'm not doing this because I owe you. I'm doing this because you reminded me what love looks like when it's real. You gave me a reason to stay." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The girls were chasing fireflies in the yard, their laughter filling the air like music. I finally exhaled. "You sure about this?" Clara smiled, for the first time in years. That night, we ate dinner together, nothing fancy. Just spaghetti, garlic bread, and laughter that came easy again. Emma told Clara about her science project. Lily proudly showed off her new drawing of all 4 of us, stick figures holding hands under a giant sun. "See," she said, pointing. That's you, Miss Clara. You came back. Clara's eyes shimmered. I did, didn't I? I caught her gaze, and for once, there was no tension, no guilt, just quiet understanding. Two people who had finally stopped running. When the girls went to bed, we stepped outside. The sky was dark but calm, stars scattered like tiny promises. Clara leaned against the railing. You ever think about how far we've come? All the time, I said. Sometimes I still expect to wake up in that old house, wondering how I'll make it through another day. She turned to me. You made it, Jack. And you didn't just survive, you taught me how to live. The horizon started to lighten, streaks of orange cutting through the fading night. The girls came padding out in their pajamas, rubbing sleepy eyes. Daddy, Lily yawned. The sun's waking up. Yeah, I whispered, wrapping an arm around both of them. Clara stood beside me, close enough that our shoulders touched. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel empty or lost. We watched the sunrise in silence, the four of us, breathing the same quiet promise. We'd all been broken once, but somehow we'd found our way back home.